special.
Stranger Things special. Yeah.
Should we kick it off? We've just been playing this game. We've been having a look at this game, haven't we?
Absolutely, yeah. There's so many Stranger Things now. Obviously, they've like gone to town with the merchandise. I just bought a couple of things here. You can get obviously these days you can get Stranger Things comics. They're all over the magazines. Actually, that was from season 2.
$4. This is a remake, isn't it? Or
I think that's like an alternative story. They've made tie-in novels, stuff like that.
That's cool.
They've revamped like Dungeons and Dragons around Stranger Things these days again. I think that's getting some notice because of the show. And yeah, we've got the Stranger Things Trivial Pursuit over here, and I'm going to be asking you some 80s themed questions.
So this game,
think you know the 80s, huh? In your
Sorry?
video T-shirt.
Re-record, not fade away.
Yeah.
And re-record, not fade away.
So this game, this is basically Trivial Pursuit, but it's a Stranger Things.
Yeah,
version.
it's like Stranger Things based. It makes it very long-winded. I mean, it's great and everything, but yeah, they've got this alternative that if you land on one of these, these black hole things or whatever, that you flip the board over to the
upside down.
The upside down, yeah.
That's
and
cool.
Then it takes on a darker tone.
What happens in this darker area?
I don't remember. I've only played it once.
It's different
Do you
questions.
remember?
Different questions, the same, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. Talking of questions, shall I ask you some?
Go on then. Yeah.
Okay. What theme song from the 1982 movie Rocky III was sung by Survivor?
Eye of the Tiger.
God damn. Good. You know what? I didn't think it was that.
Did you?
I
wasn't
think it
sure.
was
I
that.
wasn't sure. It's the main one though, isn't it? Okay. No, that's rubbish. Here you go. It's one for you. In The Lost Boys, the boys are a gang of what mythic beings?
Oh, werewolves. Stupid question. Do they know who they're talking to here, for Christ's
Go on,
sake?
what is it?
Vampires.
Exactly.
God
Is that
damn.
mythic?
Well, yeah.
mythic beings?
Mythical beings. I suppose they're mythical beings. Yeah, they're mythical beings.
Yeah, they're a myth.
There were legends about them before they were made into, before Bram Stoker got hold of one.
Okay, on
Go on
Mork and Mindy,
Oh, Jesus.
when Mork defied the laws of his alien home planet, Ork, and married an earthling, Mindy,
Yeah.
what animal did he get turned into?
No idea. Frog.
Saying a frog?
Yeah. It's probably a dog.
A dog.
Yeah.
A dog, yeah.
Got it in there, man,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
in time.
it did, yeah,
I
yeah.
was just thinking, logistics of them filming that. Probably a dog would. Oh, yeah, there's
Well,
Mork the dog.
He was quite... Robin Williams was a bit like a
lovable,
dog-friendly
wasn't he?
character, wasn't
That
he?
was it.
Yeah. All right, next.
Next, yeah, so we went to a Stranger Things event the other day, right?
Yeah, it was good actually. It was fun. There's lots of children there. I think with the oldest
Lots
ones.
of children. I think there were some teenagers there, but I think there was
There were some geeks there.
yeah, we possibly were a little bit on the older side than most
Yeah.
of them. But yeah, they'd basically opened a little pop-up arcade in
Shoreditch,
Shoreditch, yeah.
Brick Lane. Yeah,
Yeah, where they had a bunch of games. We've got some footage from there, haven't we?
we'll show a bit of that. It was quite fun.
Yeah, they had a Scoops Ahoy
Yeah.
ice cream truck there.
And we got these, didn't we?
Yeah, they had some upside down Coca-Colas, which is I don't know,
Quite novel, I thought.
quite novel. Yeah, gonna
And
sell
the
them
hand
on
came
eBay
out
later.
the wall,
Yeah,
and you grabbed it, didn't you?
you grabbed one too, didn't you?
I think we both did. Yeah, we both did.
Yeah, it was fun. It wasn't bad actually. I mean, it wasn't over the top,
No,
but it was it was a nice little promotional exercise for them.
yeah.
What else did they have there? They had a couple of people LARPing,
What's that?
live action role playing. Well, I guess they were
Okay.
they weren't. They were actors, right? From the Secret Cinema Strange Things event in London, which starts in September and goes on all the way through to February, I think. So Secret Cinema, a few years ago, me and Matt went to a Secret Cinema event for Back to the Future,
Yeah.
which was great.
Yeah, we
wasn't
enjoyed
it?
that.
I went twice. I loved it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it was really good.
laugh like that.
Pardon? Yeah, well,
It
no,
was good.
it was
Must
good.
admit, it was better to go with you the second time.
Was
First
it?
time, yeah,
Yeah, no, it was fun. We interacted with a few actors roaming around.
it was great.
The village.
They'd basically essentially built this sort of makeshift Hill Valley town, and they'd got the clock house tower, and they've got this high school, the diner, a bunch of other random shops and stuff like that. And there was a sort of a big green in the middle with the track, a road around the edge of it. So they would act out scenes from the movie, the thing with the car and the skateboard jumping over. what have you.
Yeah.
It was really well done.
Well, this was all while we were watching the film, wasn't it? So you'd
Yeah.
watch the film and certain... Or was it? No, the film was on in the evening. So there were certain scenes played out throughout the day.
Throughout the day, but then they did also act out the scenes, some key scenes at the same time on the stage
That's
with
right.
the DeLorean and stuff like
DeLorean
that.
started
at the same
driving
time.
around
Really
past,
good.
yeah.
Doc Brown like slid down the
Yeah.
wire at the end over the crowd.
Yeah.
It was really well made.
Marty on the back of the car, wasn't he?
Yeah. So if they do something similar, I mean, the Stranger Things is a different thing because it's supposed to be like an interactive story that's like in the Stranger Things universe, but not affecting the
You won't have
storyline.
seen the story before.
Yeah.
It's all new.
And they're keeping it quite quiet, so it's not really. We can't really say that much about it because we don't really know about it. But I'm expecting it to be pretty good.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
They've
I'm
got a good
gonna go, right?
reputation.
Let's go.
Yeah, we'll go to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's about £100 a ticket.
Yeah, I think
quite-
it is. It ranges, I think, from six. There was like different tier tickets, like, and the more expensive ones gets you in ahead of everybody else and gets you a free drink at the 80s bar that they have there.
There's a disco. They called it. What did they say? What's the name of the school? Hawkins High or something.
Hawkins High, I guess,
High,
yeah.
So there was a disco. Or am I thinking of Back to the Future? Because that was.
Might be getting them mixed up.
Yeah, I think they're going to do that.
They had the school dance at the Back to the Future.
Yeah,
That was great.
I-
It was so good. That
yeah.
was so well made.
Yeah.
I know somebody that worked on that actually that helped build the set.
Yeah.
Like Finnish guy. Like he was talking about it when I went back to Finland
Okay.
once. But yeah. If they put that much effort into it with that one, then it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the thing that we went to the other day, that was cool, wasn't it? Yeah, just like a bunch of retro games. Then they had like a sort of secret compartment which opened with an old school Coke machine.
The reverse Coke machine. Yeah. It's
so
upside
they
down.
opened the door of the Coke machine, and then we went into the what they'd made a little upside down area, which was
Yeah.
like it was a nice touch. It was a
Well,
nice touch. It was a free event. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was in a small arcade,
Yeah.
full of 80s games, and
Yeah.
basically what you had the other side was like what seemed like a cave. You went through the Coke machine into like a cave, and as soon as you got there, you were looking around, and all of a sudden a hand shot out the wall with this can of Coke, upside down can of Coke,
Yeah.
and that made you jump. I kind of knew it was coming a little bit because we.
Well, I heard somebody scream when we were
Yeah.
watching that, so I was expecting something worse.
Yeah, exactly. So, but then you went round the corner, and all the arcade machines had been taken over by the
Yeah.
upside down world.
Yeah. It was good.
Hmm.
It was a nice like little touch, and like I say, for a free event, and it turned into a nice day, didn't it? All in all, because
We had a few
hung
beers,
out,
didn't we?
and, yeah, it turned into a longer day than we were planning. But yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. Like so, Stranger Things this season. We should talk about that. We should talk about the season of
Go on then.
Stranger Things. You finished it, right?
Yeah,
I finished it last night.
Did you?
Yeah.
See, I think this is my personal. I think it was probably the best one,
I think it was the best one.
and I went on to Rotten Tomatoes to check out the general scores, and it was the lowest scoring of the three series.
That's because people don't know what they're talking about.
Well, but also, I said this to you the other day. I said I think it's mainly because it's become more popular now, and when things become more popular,
Right.
they get more votes. And before it was a select, not really. It was pretty massive, but it's got more and more popular as time's going on.
Yeah.
So that's going to probably bring the vote down a bit, I think.
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, I enjoyed it more because it definitely took on. They definitely kept the fun and stuff like that, but they definitely made it. It went in a darker direction and somewhat more adult direction.
Well, they were older, weren't they?
Yeah,
They're older. I mean, they were getting on for like 16 or something. They looked
Yeah.
like that, didn't they?
Yeah, they were getting. I suppose they were supposed to be about 13, 14 would be my
Right.
guess. Just get based on the the sort of
The years going by.
the sexual tension between 11 and what's his name?
Yeah,
What's his name? Mike.
Mike.
Yeah. So they weren't, they
The
weren't going too
characters,
far.
I thought their acting was really good, actually.
It was really good. You know who stood
Hmm.
out for me? I don't know how you pronounce his name. I think you pronounce it Dacre Montgomery. So he's a Australian actor, and he played the role of the brother Billy, the sort of
Yeah,
bad
no,
boy
he's
guy.
great. He's great.
Really
Lifeguard.
good. I was
Yeah,
I like that whole speech he gave. I think it was like second to last episode. He was giving this whole speech at the end of the episode. Well, I guess everyone's seen it already, but just the whole thing he was doing, I was like, shit, man. He's like, they've really utilized him well, because the season before he was just like an annoyance, just a typical stereotype bad boy.
Yeah.
But they really stepped up with him, like with this. I thought he's like
He could be the dark horse of this whole series, couldn't he? He could be the Han Solo, the Harrison Ford.
I think they've done it. Yeah. I think whatever he goes on to do, who knows people's careers or whatever, but I think that's going to set him up for bigger things. He was really good.
bigger things.
Yeah.
Not Stranger.
No. They're all really good. They're all really
Yeah.
good actors, to be honest. Even Winona Ryder, I don't know.
I'm not that sold
she's
by
the
her.
least convincing for me, but I suppose she does what she does well. She
They needed a
is
star,
sort of
I
like
guess.
neurotic and
Yeah, they needed a star, and she's from the
to
80s.
start with. Yeah, that's it.
So
That's
it was fun to, you think, oh, there's a new series of Winona Ryder. I mean,
that sold it in the first
yeah.
sense, didn't it?
Yeah.
because she hadn't done anything for a long time,
No.
other than getting arrested for shoplifting or whatever.
Yeah,
And,
which was that was years ago.
It was, but I think she hadn't really. I think that hurt her a lot, right? She didn't really do anything since Girl Interrupted, which was also good. But so what else we got? So yeah, what did you think about it? I liked the way they started with I think the whole bringing Return of the Living Dead, starting with that, kind of set it up in that zombie sense, like because it was zombie-ish, right? Or also reminded me of what's it, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think there was quite a lot of nods to films.
They always do that.
Did you notice the nod to Back to the Future?
Nice little touch.
But this guy, when he was getting out of his bedroom, do you know Marty McFly rushes to get out of his bedroom and he gets his trousers in?
Oh, did they do that?
Yeah, they did that.
I don't
Yeah,
remember
and
that.
they were playing. I think it must have been Huey Lewis and the News. It must be that him because I recognised the tune.
Okay,
But it
Back
wasn't.
in Time.
No, it wasn't Back in Time. It was another tune by the same artist.
What else on there? There was some. Yeah, there was. I really liked it. Like I say, I think there were parallels with Invasion of the Body Snatchers. They threw a lot of 50s music in there as well, which was a thing in the 80s. People liked the 50s in the 80s.
Yeah, definitely. And
Yeah.
I thought that was cool because sometimes I was watching scenes and I was thinking these people are dressed a bit more like 50s styles, but
Yeah.
that was reflected in that era, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. That's it. We're always into something like that was a few decades previous or whatever. Like in the 90s, we were into the 70s. And
that's probably why Back to the Future worked so well, didn't it? Because they were looking back
exactly.
to those eras.
Yeah, 50s completely. Like they always, like with Stranger Things, they always like do a very heavy nod towards something. Like I think in the second season, there was like a huge sort of like Gremlins vibe to it because it had the little things running around, and they kind of changed the music a little bit. It was a bit Gremlinsy, and obviously with this one, they had the Terminator dude, which was like unashamedly just like a rip off of Arnie, which is fine. It's
Yeah,
fine.
that was funny.
Yeah, but yeah, I liked it, man. I think, all in all, they did, like, I was just reading about it the other day, that there was some like complaints about Jim Hopper being a lot more strung out, and that he was being sort of like overbearing towards the
Which
Winona
one's Jim
Ryder
Hopper?
character, the sheriff,
Okay, yeah.
and that he was sort of like super jealous, and people were going on Twitter and saying, "Oh my God, you can't put up with that," and this kind of thing. They're setting like a bad example of somebody dominating a relationship, but then.
I think that's stupid. Stories have to play characters. Characters
Yeah.
aren't real. Characters show you
That's
what's
it.
good in a person and what's bad in a person.
Yeah.
Don't watch a murderer in a horror film saying that's a bad example. Of course, it's a
Yeah.
bad example.
Yeah, don't go around slashing people up with a glove or with knives in it. Yeah, but they sort of also covered that with the relationship between Mike and Eleven when he was being somewhat jealous, and they addressed it directly more than one occasion. So I think that I think people just like to get offended.
Yeah,
First
no, I
thing
think
that
it's
they
good.
fucking can
Offend
these
more
days.
people.
Yeah, and there was a couple of nice little additions as well. You know, the guy with the beard and the bald head that was like the Russian, the sort of conspiracy dude. He wasn't a Russian, but he was speaking a lot of Russian in there.
Yeah.
He gave away his phone number on one episode, and apparently, if you called it, there was like a recorded message from him that was just saying, "Okay,
Really?
yeah, you think that you've reached me," and this whole, his whole conspiracy vibe. So they've done some nice
We should phone
interactions.
that.
Hi, you have reached the residence of Murray Bauman. Mom, if this is you, please hang up and call me between the hours of 5 and 6 p.m. as previously discussed, okay? If this is Joyce, thank you for calling. I've been trying to reach you. I have an update. It's about, it's probably best if we speak in person. It's not good or bad, but it's something. And if this is anyone but my mother or Joyce, well, you think you're real clever getting my number, don't you? Well, here's some breaking news for you. You're not clever. You're not special. You are simply one of the many, many nimwits to call here, and the closest you will ever get to me is this pre-recorded message. So, at the beep, do me a favor. Hang up and never call here again. You are a parasite. Thank you, and good day.
It's great. I really enjoyed it. I mean, the sort of like comedy aspects of it weren't working for me so much with this one. But I really
what?
got into the darker elements. Just the whole, you know, the Russian sort of underground spy thing. I mean, it was quite over the top, and you know, then there was this whole thing with Hopper and Joyce, and then the Russian guy that they kidnapped, and they were stealing cars and what have you.
I thought it was okay. I thought
it was
okay.
alright. It lightened it up.
My
But
favourite scene was episode 5
yeah,
when the lifeguard goes into that demonic
yeah,
fight and with 11. That was
yeah.
amazing.
That was great.
That was I wasn't sure. You weren't sure if he had any powers or anything like that, and all of a sudden he just went mental, and he was just
Yeah.
it reminded me of like almost Incredible Hulk. That change came over him, and it was like, whoa, this guy's like looks like human, but he's like,
Yeah.
you know, all that black stuff went all over him.
Yeah,
It's cool.
I had a got to say, like, he really stood out for me, and my favorite scene then was also with him, and I think it was probably episode 8 at the end. And let's just give a bit away now. So when the people were sort of walking back towards the whole monster or what have you, and they were just sort of disintegrating, and at the same time he was giving this whole speech to 11, and he was doing it very sort of slinky, like a bit cult leader, like, you know, just like he knew his gotta, you know, and he was just saying, yeah, this is all for you. I was like, fuck, that was just so good. They really stepped it up. Yeah, my favorite season so far.
Enjoyed it.
And that the whole thing was set in 1985, which was like, you know, one of my favorite years for everything 80s. I mean, it was slap bang in the middle of it. I tried to come up with like a top 10 of favorite. Well, we haven't talked about this. So my favorite 80s movies from 1985, and then looking into
quite
it.
precise here, though. I mean,
Yeah, but looking into it, there were so many like classic good films from 1985 that there were too much.
so one of the Back to the Futures then.
Well, that was the only
because-
Back to the Future was 85. The others came like 89, I believe.
Did they?
Yeah, like one straight after the other.
Okay, because that was why they were watching it in the cinema. On one
Yeah,
of the cinemas,
yeah.
I mean, that was obviously one.
Yeah, the same year, like just straight off the back of Back to the Future, they obviously just wanted to capitalize on Michael J. Fox, and they released Teen Wolf as well, which had been made, I think, like a year or two earlier, perhaps.
Yeah.
And they hung on to it. But yeah, just looking into it, man, I could just read off some of the movies that came out in 85. There was a lot of sequels, which is one thing. So in terms of sequels, there was like Return to Oz, which was the sequel to Wizard of Oz, right? There was Rocky IV, there was a James Bond, View to a Kill, National Lampoon's European Vacation, Porky's Revenge, Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome, Police Academy 2, Howling 2, Missing in Action 2, Wild Geese 2. There was just like a shit ton.
Do you know some of those films
sequels.
aren't like massive budgets, are they? So like, you know, Police Academy films.
Probably a lot of them, yeah.
But they were good. They would just become kind of classics. Didn't
They certainly didn't put it into Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Did I say that?
No.
Yeah, that was there too. Nightmare on Elm Street 2, which was one of the more questionable ones of the series.
So
as
if
well.
you were going to the cinema that year and you watched them all, you would have been seeing quite a wealth of classic films.
sequels, well, but I mean that's just the sequels, man. Like what else was there in that year?
Right.
One of my favorites, Demons, came out that year. Do you remember that? I was talking about.
Yeah, we
in
watched that,
October.
didn't we? We watched it.
Still love it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not the greatest film.
No, it's good. It's good, but it's almost B movie. But
Yeah, in terms of like big movies, there was like, you know, proper decent movies, not just popcorn movies. There was The Color Purple with Whoopi Goldberg and
I
Danny
don't even know
Glover.
what that is.
It was just like a big racist movie about, you know, oppression, basically. Like Whoopi Goldberg won an Oscar for it. And another movie, To Live and Die in LA, which was like another great film, which had Willem Dafoe and William Peterson, the guy that used to be in CSI to start with.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, there was good films, like proper, genuine, good stories. Cocoon was that year also. But then there was also a lot of fun films. So there was Breakfast Club, Weird Science.
Weird Science classic. Love that.
Pale Rider.
Pale Rider? What's that?
Clint Eastwood, like one of his later cowboy
Okay.
movies. Remo Williams, which was like, would you remember that one?
No.
He was like this enhanced cop thing. It was good. It's a
But like Tron.
good in a no, just like a super cop, and they had this whole final battle on the top of the Statue of Liberty. He was like, he got taught by this ninja and shit. It was like, you know, proper crap, but in a good way.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, talking to ninjas, American Ninja came out that year as well.
See, were they good films?
Well, they weren't good films, but they're memorable films. They're cult classics.
Do you remember it? What was,
American Ninja.
I don't really remember.
Great. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, again, great in a bad way.
Great,
you know.
as in like a Van Damme kind of.
Yeah,
great.
yeah, great. Michael Dudikoff, right? Like, and he's
Right.
like jump. Yeah, he was like in the army. And shall I quickly run through my personal top 10?
Go
of
on.
them?
Go on.
So number 10, I'd put St. Elmo's Fire, which was like a Brat Pack movie. So
Yeah.
Brat Pack, you know who they were, right? And so those young actors like Molly Ringwald and Rob Lowe and Emilio Estevez and everybody, Ralph Macchio, people that all sort of fell into that age bracket. They
Right.
called them the Brat Pack in the
Okay.
80s. Yeah. Anyway, so St. Elmo's Fire for Brat Pack movies was my number 10, followed quickly by The Breakfast Club,
Yeah,
which
like that.
I like it, but I preferred St. Elmo's Fire, to
Well,
be honest with you.
Breakfast Club. Not much happens, but it just feels like a detention, and that's what it is. That's
Yeah,
what
and
happens in a detention. Not
it's
much happens. So it was almost it's almost like a fly on the wall documentary about kids having to sit in a room.
Yeah, and it's a sign of
In
the
the
times,
80s.
isn't it?
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
sign of the times. Teen Wolf. I'm not really put these in any kind of order, really.
No,
Teen
because
Wolf,
that's you right up there.
Weird Science, Jewel of the Nile. You know, Kathleen Turner. Was it Kathleen
I
Turner?
prefer
and
Romance.
Michael
In
Douglas.
the Stone.
Rocky 4. Rocky 4. I mean, again, not the best Rocky movie, but probably maybe even the most memorable Rocky movie. Would you say?
What's that?
Ivan
Say
Drago.
again,
Rocky 4.
Rocky 4. I can't.
Ivan Drago,
I'm
man.
not so up with what happens in every Rocky film. I've got to say.
Pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So yeah, I mean, which one's Mr. T? Which one's
That was
Dolph Lundgren.
Rocky 3. Rocky 4 is Dolph Lundgren.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I know which one I'm watching.
Well, he goes to Russia and trains, right? That was the thing. Return of the Living Dead, which obviously they started off the new seasons of Stranger Things with. Personal favorite, like personal all-time favorite, Fright Night, came out in 1985.
Yeah,
That's 2 years before The Lost Boys. So they somewhat try to reinvent the vampire with that, but they did it in a classic sort of Dracula way. He's still like an old school vampire, but they kind of brought the vampire into the 80s with that movie, I think. Goonies,
classic.
yeah. Your favorite in it?
Well, Goonies is basically Stranger Things. I mean, Stranger Things has taken probably most from Goonies than any other film. Just the
Alright.
kids on bikes cycling
Yeah.
around. So yeah, I mean, Goonies has got a lot to answer for, really,
Yeah,
when
yeah.
it comes to Stranger Things. I don't think Stranger Things would be the same without Goonies.
Yeah, fair enough. It's funny how there were so many things like centered around kids those days, like Monster Squad, The Lost Boys, Goonies.
It's not just kids though. It's just that group of kids on an adventure, riding around on their bikes. That whole
Well, there wasn't anything else to do in those days, were
that
there?
whole
So
no,
why
and
not?
that yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that was obviously that's an obvious thing to do, but
Yeah.
that I can't think of many other films in the 80s where there was a bunch of kids cycling around on their bikes, all like 5 or 6. Of them.
E.T.
5 or 6 of them, was there?
E.T.
Was there?
Final thing, they're all
Yeah.
taking off the bikes.
Steven
Put them all
Spielberg
together.
again.
Yeah.
He's got a license to do it. He did it once. He'd do it again.
Didn't add E.T. into my list, man.
No.
How stupid of me.
Yeah, see, E.T. I do like E.T.
Love it.
and I love the kind of the way, but it's not the film I like to watch again and again.
I watched it recently.
Yeah.
Rewatched it.
What do you prefer, Goonies or E.T.?
E.T.
Do you?
I've got an emotional connection to E.T. Like, I once had an alien come down and visit
Did
me
you?
in 1982, yeah. And, we hung out for a while, but no. I went to watch it with my dad, and, yeah, that just kind of, just the whole thing about
The
it.
feel of it.
sticks
I
with
mean,
me.
the sticker book. Remember in the 80s, the old, that
That's a
whole,
sticker book for everything.
yeah, that E.T. sticker book was particularly good though.
Yeah, I had one. I had an ET sticker book. I had a
the
Back to the
art-
Future sticker book.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah.
Did you have it? I didn't.
Almost finished. Back to the Future one was the only one I almost finished. I was like a few stickers off it. And then, I don't know what the hell happened to those things. Just dumped them, probably. Terrible. And now I go around buying He-Man figures
Exactly.
at 43 years old. Okay, so number 1, 1985 movie.
Mine, number 1,
Should be everybody's.
Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a time it was, man. I mean, all the games as well. Remember the games? Oh, Christ, what are you trying to do? It's not even... It's 5:30. Games?
My favourite game probably Double
Arcade
Dragon.
games. Double Dragon.
Double
yeah.
Dragon.
Yeah, Double Dragon came out in 87, so that was quite a late one. But yeah, you know what? Once, just random, another emotional connection. It's Double Dragon. I had this girlfriend, like, first year at high school, so I was, 13, something like that, 14, I don't know. And, I say girlfriend very loosely because I think
Yeah.
it lasted a week.
Yeah.
And she dumped me like after our second date or something like that, and I was devastated, man. I mean, I was devastated. I was running because we used to live on the Isle of Wight. I ran from Sandown, where she dumped me, to Shanklin along the beach, bawling my eyes out, man. People were looking at me like, and I went straight to the arcade, and I put 10 pence in Double Dragon, and I went from the first, and I completed the entire thing, man, on 10p.
Did you?
I was so angry.
Did you really?
I just let it all out. Yeah, 10 pence. I just went from level 1, completed the whole game in one like half an hour session.
Well, I've completed the game
because
before,
of
but
that.
not at 10p.
So wound up. I was like,
Do you
God
gain
damn
extra
these.
life as you go? I suppose you do.
You probably must do. I don't know, but yeah, I did the whole thing in one one go.
Do you get to get every time someone's coming?
It's very stabby,
that
wasn't it?
elbow
That game.
was really easy.
Yeah,
elbow
the
move.
elbow was a good one, and the whip, and keep your distance. Yeah, and then you could chuck barrels at people, couldn't you?
You could.
Or dustbin cans, whatever you call them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Games. What else? World Cup '86. You don't
Never
remember that
played
one?
it. No, this is the ball, wasn't it?
Yeah, I suppose that one was kind of a bit more exclusively to this side of the world. Like, I don't imagine that would have been in America, but it was,
Soccer.
football game. Yeah, and it was controlled with a ball. So wherever you moved it, the players would go, and you could get some speed up on it.
Yeah, Super
sort
Sprint
of-
was like that racing game where you could spin the wheel, and that was really cool. It was a really nice feeling.
Why
to
don't I
do.
remember that one? Yeah.
I think that was older than
Is
that.
that track and field?
Yeah, what they're doing.
Yeah.
Thing, yeah.
That was annoying.
That was I don't like games that make you do that.
I used to love Pac-Land, which is obviously a sequel to Pac-Man. Pac-Man came out in 1980, and Pac-Land came out on the 1st of August, my birthday, 1984.
Right.
Remember that one?
No.
Pac-Land.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
Ding,
you're running
ding,
along
ding, ding.
as
Yeah.
a Pac-Man, like a what do they call it, platform game.
Yeah, he would jump up on houses, and then he would have to jump over swimming pools and shit.
Actually, do you know what? Another one we haven't got in there, which was really good.
What?
Wonder Boy.
Wonder Boy.
Do you
Don't
remember
know if I
Wonder
remember.
Boy?
Sounds familiar.
That was similar. That
Okay.
was a similar thing. He was
That
running
does
along.
sound familiar.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
That was a good game. Can't really
Sta-
say much more on that. But it was
Star Wars, the sit-down Atari game.
See, I
Didn't you
never,
like that?
Well, I didn't.
Loved it.
Yeah, I never really played it much, but it looked a bit complicated. I think you're a few years older than me, so I don't really. Some of these games were.
A few years older,
Yeah.
I'll have you know that when you turn... Yeah, I am. All right.
Yeah.
You know what? I've got a creepy story with that Star Wars thing. I'm not sure it's really the thing to bring up.
It's all right.
We're going into dark territory
Yeah,
here.
Go on.
This is completely off.
Coke cans moving.
No. This was well, I was playing that Star Wars game where you sit down. So I don't know if anybody that wouldn't know it. There was like what was it? A cockpit. It was essentially a cockpit, right? So you're sitting there,
Sitting
you're in
like
the Death
it's
Star.
almost like a little car.
Yeah, you're in the Death Star, like shooting the torrents or whatever. And then there was this old guy hanging around in the.
Oh, gay guy.
I don't know. I was,
Go on.
well, yeah, I guess
Could have
I guess-
been.
But
Hang around
anyway,
you.
he well, he wasn't old. He was he was an adult, and he was paying for my friend to play it. I won't say which friend it was. You know him. And then I was like sat one side of the thing watching him play, and this guy was sat the other side watching him play. And then all of a sudden, my friend was just like, and he let the game go and just took off. And he was looking at me all freaked out. And I was like, what the hell are you doing, man? Like, the game's still going. And I jumped in and took over. And then as I did,
move.
the guy put his hand on my leg.
Just your leg.
Yeah, just on my leg. And I was just like, whoa. And I was like, whoa, dude. No, I didn't.
Slap
And
hand.
No, shouldn't make light of that, man. Creepy
No.
bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was paying for kids to play the game, and then he was perving on them. Yeah, that's
There you go. That's a proper story from the 80s.
yeah. Anyway, I went down and I told the.
It went down.
I don't think this is the thing that to be joking about. I went down and told the people that ran the place, and they called the police, and the police came, and they interviewed us, and we had to describe the guy and all that stuff.
I think we'll end it there. That was a really interesting podcast. Yeah.
Still traumatized, man. I
Yeah,
can't play
well, yeah,
Star
it
Wars
sounds
anymore.
quite traumatising.
No, I'm not really traumatized.
No.
But yeah.
But, it's not nice, is it? Not nice.
Not nice.
Not nice.
Yeah.
So what
Tetris. Tetris wasn't something that I ever liked playing. Mario Brothers came out. What year would you think Mario Brothers came out? Because I always associated that with the 90s.
Mario Brothers. Yes. Wow. I was going to say the 70s then, but it wasn't.
Oh, really?
I was not.
I always assumed it was 90s because of the
70s was really basic games.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, there was like Manic Miner. That was like, I remember getting that. That was one of the most basic
So
ones.
you got Donkey Kong games like that, yeah, 87.
Yeah, Donkey Kong came out. Yeah, no, Mario Brothers was 83. But I was just quite surprised by that because I always assumed that it was 90s because of the movie and stuff like that.
Well, it has been going for a long time. That's the thing, but it was basically a very
83.
simple platform game, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's just run through a couple of others. Bubble Bobble, do you remember that?
Yeah, that was a
Out.
classic.
Outrun, like
Yeah.
the classic of the 80s, I suppose. That's taken on by a lot of our synthwave friends.
Yeah,
Gauntlet. So that was like a take on
that's
Dungeons
cool.
and Dragons.
that's cool. Yeah,
Yeah. I used to try and play that, but I wasn't any good at it because it was multiple players, wasn't it? And you had rooms, yeah, and they had characters. They had Thor was a character. They had Merlin. They had Thyra, who's like from Norse mythology. They were going for it with this shit. So she was like a Valkyrie. If you've watched the Thor movies, like okay, they've sort of reinvented the Valkyries, whatever. But that's from Norse mythology. And there was Questor, who was an elf.
yeah, little green one.
I don't know what else to say about that.
No, it was good. I enjoyed. I mean, Dungeons and Dragons. Did you ever used to play Dungeons and Dragons? I know you got the hat on,
I got the hat on.
but you never used to play it, did you? And lead figures and paint the figures.
Did you play it?
As a kid? Yeah, I used to love it.
Nice.
Yeah, I used to do the painting of the little figures, dragons. It was more collecting the figures and painting them than playing the game. But we did play it sometimes. We tried to.
They play it at the comic shop in where I live. Like I walk past there and so they've got the door open and they've cleared the place out and there's an array of ages sitting there playing it, which
Yeah.
is always hilarious when I walk past.
Yeah.
But you know, God bless them. I would.
Yeah. No, but
in a way, I'd love to know how to play it.
It was a brilliant game as a kid, though.
Yeah.
It was such because it was a lot of it was in the mind. So you'd have two different types of games. One where you'd kind of have it a dungeon. What they call it? Dungeon master describing where you are.
Yeah.
And they say, right, you're in a cave, and he's made this game up. He's written this game, and you have to go through it. And that was all in the imagination, and you figure out the way of getting out of the room into the next room, essentially.
Yeah.
But what I used to like playing is just setting up all my carefully painted lead figurines
Nice.
in a nice. I had like a big board, and I'd like whole landscaped in with all model, things from like train. What they call it, model train stuff.
Yeah.
All little trees and everything like that. And you set up your army, and you roll your dice, and you battle your friends. That was fun as a kid. That was a real fun game. What else we got?
Where was I? Yeah, I think Space Invaders, man. Although I think that I can't remember the date of that one, and I didn't note it down here. I've got a funny feeling Space Invaders was late 70s, and they sort of maybe reinvented it again 1980.
Right.
They're making Space Invaders into a movie from Warner Brothers,
they?
New Line Cinema. Yeah. God knows what they'll do with that. Probably be a load of shit.
Well, it'd just be an alien film, isn't it? Aliens come to
Yeah,
kill us.
that's it. I mean, what can you do with a Space
Invaders.
Like it's just like a horde of them coming down, and you're moving across, shooting them. Right? That was it, wasn't it? Space
I
Invaders.
don't really understand how that's going to work now.
Yeah. So that's it, man. We've covered a lot of 80s.
We have.
80s stuff.
It's good.
Done.
We've done it.
Yeah.
Stranger Things special. We'll turn more into 1985 special, but
Yeah.
what have you got there?
He-Man.
Nice. Going for it.
Depends. Isn't that?
Oh, that's the original.
Cool as fuck, though, isn't it?
Look.
Well, it's sort of the original. They've made him based more around the cartoon than the actual figures were in the first place.
And he's got a nice skeletal head almost. What's that?
It's got a robot head. There was like an episode where he was Man-at-Arms made a
Oh, I
robot.
like this. He's got a laughing face, and he's got a sort of like a demonic kind of face.
Almost don't want to open it.
You never get a She-Ra, do you? This is the second time we've had a He-Man, isn't it? So that was a good episode, and all about
it?
1985.
Did you like that?
Well, it was mainly from you, because you're the aficionado of 1985 and Stranger Things, although I love it myself. You're quite a knowledgeable person when it comes to the 80s, as we know.
Things that mean absolutely no relevance to real life whatsoever.
Nice.
I'm
Fun,
an
though.
expert on those
You're
things.
expert. No, I love it.
Yeah.
So, well done. What do we want to say? We want to say follow us on Instagram.
Follow us on Instagram. Yeah, we never say that. Do that.
No.
Go follow us. ZeroLink Podcast.
Like the video.
Yeah, follow us on YouTube. for
Share
Christ's
it.
sake.
Yeah, share it.
Become a subscriber.
Yeah,
We might give you free stuff at some point.
yeah. I think we
Yeah.
will. We will.
You think so?
Yeah.
Should we
First.
give people this He-Man figure?
Yeah, do that. First person to subscribe. Go.
You're not getting the He-Man figure. I'm
No.
sorry. All right. Yeah, let's wrap it up. Well done.
Cool.
Yay!